And now, ahead of Kent Film Club this evening, the show's presenter, Chris Deasy, joins me now to discuss filming in Kent and some new upcoming releases. So, you have seen this film, which is, I believe, I Swear, and it's coming out soon. I think it's on the 10th of October, maybe?
That's right. Now, I went to see it in Dover. Cine will put these unlimited screenings on, secret screens. You don't know what you're going to watch. Right. And mixed feelings about it, because sometimes people walk out if it's not the sort of film they want. This one, most people stayed. It's a Scottish film about based on a true story of a chap who grew up in the 1980s with Tourette syndrome, but before anybody knew what it was. So it's a very moving film about somebody who was an outcast, somebody who in his own family was seen to be a bit of a pariah. You know, the family didn't know what to make of him. He was swearing all the time. It was just embarrassing when he was out. But then he became an ambassador, and in later years, and actually got an MBE from the Queen in 2019. And the film has some very black comedy moments as he, at the most inappropriate moment, including as he's about to go up to the Queen to get his MBE, and he says things which obviously you wouldn't say in polite society. But it also really gets to the heart in a way that, say, Rain Man didn't with its study of autism back in the 1980s with Dustin Hoffman, and a real tour de force. And I felt so moved while watching this film, and I really felt that it was trying to do what films, I think, historically haven't always done to this sort of degree, which is to really understand, almost like from the inside perspective, what it is to suffer from something that makes a lot of people sometimes cast somebody out. It was really saying, you know, the world, it's not the fault of somebody with Tourette's, it's the fact that people don't understand what Tourette's is that makes it a social problem.
Well, that's it. And you know, I have seen clips of this on social media, and first of all, I mean, I know that he's a brilliant actor, so I'm sure that he brought a lot to the production in of itself, but did they kind of raise awareness with this by including a bit of comedy in it as well? Oh,
well, totally. Well, often it's the inappropriate outbursts that were going on, almost like, you know, the police would be walking by in the street, and then he'd say the very thing that would get their attention at just the moment that he might be, you know, carrying something on his person. If you watch the film, you see what that is, and the police then look in the very place. So some very dark moments, but it also straddles that line, I think, very carefully about raising awareness and a very sympathetic portrayal, but also making it something that is entertaining to watch. I was really deeply moved, actually, throughout.
And then as it becomes, I suppose what I was thinking is earlier on is it's harder and harder to make original films. So do you feel like, you know, raising awareness through these films is going to be the new kind of theme going forward?
Well, that's right, because, you know, famously, when it comes to things like the Oscars, if somebody is playing a real-life character or somebody, I mean, you know, Anthony Hopkins has done this before as well, you know, characters who are perhaps suffering from something, or maybe there's a social phobia or there's a disability, then often it can raise awareness. But often, of course, there's that debate about whether actors themselves should have whatever condition that they may be portraying, you know, so there are all those sort of questions about representation and appropriateness. We had it with Helen Mirren playing a Jewish leader in the past, you know, so it's an interesting question, but this film, but he's such a good actor and he inhabits the role so well that I think it was so accomplished that it certainly did the job from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say that as long as it's accurate and respectful, then they don't really mind too
Absolutely,
much, but of course, it's always something to consider. Moving on then, we were talking earlier about Black Mirror, a Black Mirror episode that was filmed here in Kent, which was supposed to reflect, what was it, Massachusetts?
Yeah, Cape Cod in Massachusetts, that's right.
It. And do you think then that, I mean, the third season of Walking Dead was also filmed in Kent as well. Do you think that there's rising opportunities for Kent filmmakers here, actors even? Yeah,
because we often talk, indeed on Kent Tonight, about that question, what about all these films? You know, how do we lure filmmakers to Kent? But actually, they're stand-ins. And apparently the people in Herne Bay didn't know, I think they were like fake seagulls being created, and it was all shrouded in mystery. And they filmed in Tankerton as well, near Whitstable. So, yeah, just incredible. So the pier in Herne Bay doubled for Cape Cod Pier. Eulogy was the name of the episode. Now, it's got Paul Giamatti in it, who's an Oscar, he's in Downton Abbey, Oscar-nominated actor. Right. I don't think he was in Herne Bay, but I wouldn't know that. So, you know, there's that sense, that parallel lives and universes that I think you know about, because I think you talked about Black Mirror on Kent Film Club.
I did. I talked about the Bandersnatch episode, which is an interactive one, but I know that this episode was brilliant as well. I've watched them all, so maybe in the future we'll see Kent again in Black Mirror, but something very exciting, and I thank you for joining us this evening, Chris.
Thank you.